We're going to do a restorative yoga practice. So restorative yoga, I'm just going to let you know a little bit about restorative and then let you know a little bit about yin. Some of you guys aren't aware of yin, so you can see the differences. So restorative yoga comes from the lineage of Iyengar, okay? Hence the lots of the use of props. So its core is the practice of passive healing, and it's intended to carry the student into a deep state of relaxation by completely supporting the body in propped up asanas or postures. Okay, so it allows the practitioner to surrender completely, allowing prana or vital life energy to bathe the body in nourishment. So the kind of experience we're seeking when practicing restorative is very subtle. The physical sensations the students should feel are minimal as the body finds space to gently open in the support of the props. So it's very different to the tantric practices that we've been doing. So it's very different where the student may be asked to use their breath as a coping mechanism for intense sensations as the tight musculature begins to release. So the physiological benefits of the practice are measurable. One of the major benefits of restorative yoga is the effect it has on the nervous system. And the nervous system functions on two planes, sympathetic and parasympathetic. And when the nervous system is in its plane of sympathetic function, the body enters its fight or flight mode of survival. All of the systems of the body that are not needed for basic survival, from, say, running away from a saber-toothed tiger, temporarily cease functioning. So unfortunately, in today's busy, stress-ridden society, more often than not, people are living prolonged periods of their daily life in their sympathetic nervous system. So as a result, the body loses its ability to carry out basic daily functions like proper respiration, digestion, and elimination. So this maybe makes you think, did the caveman suffer from irritable bowel syndrome? As well, because he's too busy running away. He's always on the fight or flight, running away from saber-toothed tigers too. So restorative yoga, as its name would indicate, restores the body to its long-term plane of parasympathetic nervous system function. And this is the function of rest and rejuvenate. So it's in parasympathetic nervous system mode that systems of the body can restore balance, allowing the body to breathe, and in turn the thinking mind and internal energetic space to heal and function at their highest potential. So with its balancing, healing qualities for the nervous system, restorative yoga is for everyone. It also has many specialized applications supporting those with conditions like anxiety, exhaustion, adrenal fatigue, chronic fatigue syndrome, hormonal imbalances, and recovery from illness and surgery. So what is yin yoga? Most of you guys are already aware, but this isn't, because this isn't, you're not expected to know. I'm going to go over this quickly. So yin yoga is about deep release, though, and it was introduced by Paul Grilly in the late 1980s. It's created by Sarah Powers, but yin yoga is based on the ancient Taoist concepts of yin and yang, the opposite and complementary principles in nature, and it works synergistically with the principles of traditional Chinese medicine to shift qi through the body, and what we know in yoga as prana. So in this traditional context, the quality of yin can be described as stable, sturdy, feminine, passive, cold and damp, moving. And the quality of yang is understood to be changing, mobile, masculine, active, hot and upward moving. So from a physiological perspective, the muscles of the body are yang in quality, warm and pliable, whereas the bones, connective tissue, joints and fascial network of the musculature are said to be more yin, and they're cold and rigid in quality. So yin yoga works with these more immobile areas of the body to create a gradual long-term release. So it's a myth that yin yoga is passive, as the length of time and posture is combined with the intensity of sensation Make this practice everything but, and you guys who've practiced this with me know that. So yogis' boundaries of patience will truly be tested as they employ the tools of gravity, time, and breath to unravel the tangled web of energetic blockage manifested in the form of physical tension. So in an average yin yoga practice, only a handful of postures will be on offer, and each posture will be held up to around 3 to 5 minutes, depending on the surrounding joint space and the level of stabilization. So yin yoga postures open from the area from the navel to the knees, focus on their attention on the hip joint, which is a deeper, more stable encapsulation. And yin poses that focus on the opening of the upper body and the shoulder joint is a much shallower and less stable joint space. So most yin yoga poses are done supine or prone, seated, or from tabletop. So it's still allowing this practice to maintain its overall intention of grounding and its quality of quiet internalization. It's similar to restorative yoga, but yin yoga postures sometimes uses props, but very often they don't involve any support at all. So yin, this is where there's a lot of yogis or yoga teachers, people who are teaching. So a lot of people will go, oh, I'm teaching a yin restorative or something, but they've not done yin training or restorative training. So they're just assuming it means put in loads of props and you'll be fine. So it's really about being more specific and with what you want to do with your practice. So unlike restorative yoga, there's a percentage of yogis for who yin yoga is not appropriate. So pregnant women, for instance, need to be particularly mindful in yin yoga due to the strain it may put on their already vulnerable joints. And where the average yoga student may benefit from a healthy amount of strain in their joints through the gradual release of yin postures, pregnant women carry a hormone called relaxin in their body throughout the entirety of the pregnancy and the period of breastfeeding, which when settling into their joint spaces allows for hypermobile range of motion to that joint. So anyone who's suffering from chronic or acute injury in or around a joint space could potentially do more harm than good if they overload that joint for a prolonged period of time also. And lastly, yogis who experience hypermobility in their joints and hang out in the joints in a way that makes the joints vulnerable could be adding a little bit more, potential for injury. So it might bring too much stress to the ligaments and connective tissue. So both of these yin balancing practices, restorative yoga and yin yoga, hold their own weight and value. And in terms of choosing a style of practice that suits your needs, it's important to remember that because of the differentiation in intention and execution of these practices, you may find that one may be more appropriate for you than the other. So it's safe to say that restorative yoga is appropriate for everyone. And if you have the ability to breathe, there will be an aspect of restorative practice that will suit your needs, no matter how limited the body may be. So this is not entirely true for yin. Okay, so in summary, restorative yoga and yin yoga both work in different ways to restore balance in your life by bringing us more into a natural state of yin and in the crazy yang world that we live in. So in the value of your hour or an hour and a half of self-nourishment, energetic healing, and quiet stillness, it is absolutely priceless. Okay. So I decided I would do a specific, so instead of working on a bandha, an energy, chakra, we would work with specific physical stuff. So we're going to work with, imagine that your student is a young student, university student who's very stressed. They're maybe stuck in their halls and locked down and not getting much sleep because they're trying to study as well and experiencing regular bouts of anxiety, and they've got painful hypermobile sacroiliac joints as well. So let's move into that. So what you would do is we're really going to start a lot of the time when you work with restorative is you you go straight into it. But as Angela was saying as well, I don't like to just go straight into it. And so let's start with a little breathing technique. But because this person's got SI joint, you don't want them to be sitting for too long. So make sure their hips are supported. Your hips are supported to keep your hips raised in a way. You can have your knees back. I would say, because we're preparing ourselves to move into the first pose of the practice is Supta Virasana. So instead of coming into a supported Sukhasana, you're going to come into supported Virasana, so with a bolster or blocks or cushions underneath. So your knees are still quite happy, but you're starting to get your body opening up here. So have some sort of extension on the spine, and we're just going to begin with a few rounds of a Nadi Shodhana, just to bring balance into our practice so we can really settle into our restorative yoga practice. So because you guys are all yoga practitioners, I'm not going to guide you through this one. You're going to check in with yourself and work with your own rhythm of Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing. Okay, the next time you breathe out through the left nostril, drop the chin and inhale to come back up. Come back into smooth breathing, just checking in to see where you are. And then we're going to move into Supta Virasana. So this is one of the heart opening. This isn't a training in restorative, we're just practicing it. So I'm not going to go into the different types of poses, but it's a heart opening one. So you're going to get, if you've got a block, if you've got a bolster, that's fine. If you've got lots of pillows, that's fine. What you're going to do is move into Supta Virasana so that you are supported. Now this person has unstable SI joints, so you make sure that the cushions behind them or the pillows behind them, I'll go sideways so you can see, are not, it's not right up against the sacrum. So you should have at least, I'm trying to do restorative with a cat wandering around here. So make sure there's about a hand's distance, so there's a gap there, just to protect the SI joint. Now, if there is, if the knees aren't happy with that, you can raise, you put cushions underneath the knees here also. So you're really trying to make sure you can put stuff underneath your knees. Try and keep your legs parallel. So remember, with yin, we're flopping out to create, and it doesn't matter about the shape. We're trying to keep structure and stability. We're actively relaxing, but it's almost like we want the props to meet us. We're not coming to meet the props. So if something doesn't feel right, it's not right. So moving into something that feels right. If you want to feel quite raised up, if you've got a bolster and you've got a block, you can actually place the block underneath the higher part of the bolster like that. You see? So you've got it raised up. If you don't have a block or bolster, you can actually put cushions a bit higher than your head, so you've got like an angle going on. So there's a bit of an angle going on with here. So This is where I'm at in my Supta Virasana. So your spine isn't flat, it's not vertical. You're trying to get some sort of angle so that there's not so much pressure that there normally would be if you were in the full Supta Virasana. So it's passive relaxation. So there's nothing working. If there's something straining, you need to bring some support in. So placing things underneath, but try and get that where you're feeling there's no pressure in the SI joint. You've got that raising up your head, so but your spine is still nice and long. And then really commit to your stillness, close your eyes. And because we're working with trying to calm ourselves down, you're going to really breathe into your belly here. So Supta Virasana in restorative yoga is a wonderful digestive pose. So it eases digestive discomfort, heartburn, and nausea because it lifts the diaphragm off of the stomach. It lengthens the quadriceps, the front of the thighs, and the hip flexors, so it releases tightness in the lower back. And its chest opening effects facilitate deeper breathing, and it calms the mind and the nerves. It's a good menstrual pose, so it can help with menstrual cramps as well. And it facilitates deeper breathing and opens up the chest area. So it's good for relieving congestion in the upper respiratory area. And it relieves pressure in your head from sinusitis. And it relieves fatigue in the legs. We're staying here for another 2 minutes. Just allowing yourself to let go. Okay, so just starting to think about moving out of the pose. So you're gently moving out of it in a way feels right for you. Rolling onto your side, pushing your props to the side and moving onto your hands and knees. Okay, just a way of kind of counterbalancing this is stretching out one foot. So you're pushing out with the heel, curling the toe, like have the ball of the feet in the ground, curl the toes under, just push the leg away. Bring the knee back. And then curl the toes under and push the other leg away. Just allows that gentle stretch. So the next one we're doing, I've got a cat thinking he's a yogi here. The next pose we're doing here is you're going to get a block or a book if you don't have a block. Out of the way. And we're going to work with the supported downward facing dog. So you don't stay in this one for very long. And as I said, the aim for this is supposed to lengthen out. So it depends on what kind of block you have. See which kind of block works for you. Again, it's if you've got blocks, figure out where you're at, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. But basically, you're wanting to rest your third eye on the block. So you're coming into downward facing dog, and it's meant to release the pressure, all the pressure that you have on the shoulders, and that it's meant to be a nice little release. And that pressure on the Ajna or Ajna chakra, again, it's stimulating the oculocardiac nerve. So this is for the vagus nerve as well. So this is going to help calm you down. So you don't stay here for as long. Just really connect to your breath. Probably stay here for about a minute. When you're ready, coming down onto your knees. Moving the block away. And we're going to get either lots of cushions or things in front of you or a bolster. And then the aim here, we're going to do a supported child's pose. So you can come forwards and just hug into here. But I think that a lovely thing to do with this, because you really get the hugging motion, is to put a block underneath the top here, like we did to raise it up for Supta Virasana, which means that when you come into your supported child's pose, you can wrap your arms right round, as if you're properly, it's like you're wrapping yourself into a big hug. So get nice and comfortable, your head on one side, and if you need to, you can place cushions, blocks underneath your sit bones to get you even more comfy, or under your knees. Use as many props as you need to really feel supported. This is what it's all about, really bringing support and nurturing into your body. So it's deeply soothing and nurturing. It helps to relieve tightness in the lower back and in shoulder tension. And this as well can help to alleviate menstrual cramping. So it provides a gentle massage for the internal organs from your props beneath you as you breathe into them. It reduces acidity and flatulence as well. And it helps to open up the breath into the back of the lungs and the rib cage, and it reduces breathlessness. So it's going to help with anxiety as well. So it helps to lower blood pressure, and it relieves dizziness fatigue, and headaches. So we're trying to stay away from too many hip opening things. So if you're working, we don't want to work with too many hip openers if there's an SI joint issue. So we're staying here. You've got another 3 minutes. So you're going to turn your head the other way now. Just allow yourself to melt down and let go. Okay, so slowly and gently pushing yourself back up. From here, we're moving towards the wall. Okay, let's see if I can move you a bit closer to the wall so you can see where I'm at here. Okay. Another variation of if someone's got like neck issues or it's too much for them to do the supported down dog, this is a supported down dog. This is a down dog for very pregnant ladies as well, and it helps you really open up the shoulders. Or if another way of doing supported down dog is having your heels at the wall. You can try each if you like, but these are just nice ways of like helping you feel supported in that. But we're going to move into Viparati Karani. So if you like, so if you've either got pillows from the house or so if you're menstruating, apparently you're not supposed to lift the hips up, keep the hips stable and on the ground. Or if you've got cushions or pillows or a bolster, you're going to go in sideways. And you can have, just use as many props as you need to. It's not cheating here. So you're going in, you've got a bit of a gap from where the ball is and your prop coming in sideways to where you're going, and then coming down. So finding that space that feels comfortable for you. And so I've got neck issues, so I'm placing pillows underneath my head and my neck. So you're figuring out where you are with that. So that might be fine for you. Now, if you want to put more stability in your sacrum here, my cats are really wondering what I'm doing now. You can get a belt or dressing gown belt or whatever type of belt you have. This is why I get frustrated in Iyengar's classes, because I'm rubbish with the practicalities of tying up belts and things like that. But anyway, you're coming in. You're in Viparati Karani, you've got your belt, and you don't have a cat wandering on your head like me. And then you're going to get your belt, and you're going to tie your belt just above your knees. And it allows you, when you're in your relaxation, keeps the stability of your sacrum together and just gives you that little bit more. So it's up to you how you do it. Watch me as being so rubbish with tying belts. Kaya, when we went on a boat trip, Kaya and I went on a boat trip when she was in primary 7, she was in charge of tying the the tying things when we went through all the locks and went up the Caledonian Canal, just the two of us. So I drove the boat and she did the tying up of the boat. So there we go. So you're going to get that, find where you're at, open up your arms if you need to, take your arms over your head and just be. I'm going to stop talking for a little bit. You'll be pleased to hear. So this is a passive inversion. It offers you all the benefits of active inversions, but it's practiced without strain, so it's great for when you're feeling tired and run down. All the benefits of the inversion are enhanced because you're able to hold comfortably for longer periods of time. So this calms the nervous system. And Donna Farhi, she describes this pose as pure ambrosia for the overworked nervous system. So it can relieve stress-related headaches and migraines, breathlessness, asthma, bronchitis, and throat ailments. This is according to Mr. Iyengar. It's good for fatigue, it's rejuvenating, boosts circulation, increases blood flow to the abdominal and the pelvic region. It's good for fluid retention. It balances the endocrine system. Facilitates deeper breathing. So with the inversion of the body, the diaphragm no longer has to work against gravity. So it assists in fuller exhalation and in turn facilitates a deeper inhalation. So this causes the heart rate to slow down and helps to decrease the blood pressure. As the breath deepens, the body receives a message that all is well. And the positive feedback loop of this good news draws us into deeper and deeper states of relaxation. It supports the immune system, relieves tired and aching legs, can prevent varicose veins, it relieves indigestion, diarrhea, and nausea. It also helps with palpitations. So if you've got your legs tied up in with the belt, you're going to release the belt, coming into like staying in Viparati Karani just now, coming back in to join you. So the next part, I've found that it's a lovely feeling on your hips, but you know, as I was saying with the SI joint, you need to be careful and wary. So all you're doing here, the first part, is crossing your legs as if you would cross them when you're seated. So you can have your arms open, just coming into a cross-legged position and breathing. So you're actually still keeping that stability on the sacrum, but you're opening up the groin area. So really good for the reproductive area, if you still have one, unlike myself. Change the cross of the legs. Go the other way. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed, your jaw relaxed. Remember, this is active relaxation. There's nothing you have to hold on to here. Be aware of your belly rising and your falling as you're breathing in and out. And then this is something that I've discovered that I love doing, is you're going to take your legs into Gomukhasana legs. So take the right leg over the left. Just get your legs in that position. Be where you're at. And you really feel Lovely. You're working with the hips, but there's still some sort of sense of stability there also. Breathe into the belly. Releasing, take your legs up to the sky. And then from here, bend that right knee and take the left leg over. Coming into Gomukhasana, legs on the other side. Breathing into your belly. Slowly releasing, taking your legs back up. Flex your feet away from you and towards you a couple of times. Slowly draw your knees into your belly. And coming into Apanasana just slightly and rolling onto your side and gently coming back down. Just staying on your side. There's no rush. There's nowhere we have to be. And then gently pushing yourself up. So the next posture we're moving into is Shalamba Sarvangasana, so supported shoulder stand. So what we're doing here, there's different variations you can work with, and it's up to you to figure out what one you want to work with here. So you can, if you like, use a block to go underneath your sacrum, or you can use a bolster or pillows. So you can either, so people with neck issues must be aware, as you already know, you can place, because I've got neck issues, I'm placing a cushion from Halia's bed underneath my shoulders and my neck. And then I'm going to push down and place a block. So you come kind of up into bridge pose a little bit. Place the block into your SI joint, really, flat bit. And then you can come up there and open up your palms. That might be the version that works for you. So there's no real pressure on the neck or on the back. Okay, it shouldn't feel uncomfortable. If it does, you need to go away from it. You might want to, if you want to raise yourself up a bit more, use more props or use a bolster to allow yourself to come up a little bit further. And again, open your arms up and you're staying here. Just really get your comfort. Where are you? What do you need? How high do you want to take your hips? does your neck need supported? Ideally, if you're teaching restorative, you're really with the people and you're getting them, helping them get all comfy and nurtured. That's the main thing. It's not the same teaching restorative online because you're not able to give them that sense of nurturing the same. But in a sense, in some ways, it's making people take responsibility for their own nurturing. And a lot of the time we don't, you know, so it's actually changing the neurons to practice self-care instead of making, you know, not taking the responsibility yourself. So Shalamba Sarvangasana, supported shoulder stand. It relieves stress and nervous disorders. It alleviates hypertension. It also relieves insomnia, improves the function of the thyroid and the parathyroid gland, relieves respiratory conditions like asthma, bronchitis, and sinusitis, prevents varicose veins as well, beneficial for constipation and hemorrhoids, it's good for adrenal fatigue, and it can also help with palpitations and breathlessness. Okay, so from here, you're slowly and carefully bringing yourself down, lying down into Shavasana just to allow the energy to move around your body. And you move your head from side to side, and then nod your head up and down as if you're saying yes. Say nod your head yes, and slowly shake your head no. From here, you're going to gently, and this isn't part of this was not part of my restorative yoga training, but I feel it's such a strong pose that we're going to come onto our bellies, and we're just going to lift up your, where am I? Where are you? You're going to lift up into a baby cobra here, so that your head is raised a little bit. You're just breathing, still breathing into the belly, though. It's a restorative. We don't want too much activation. And then stack the hands in front of you into Makrasana. Again, breathing into the belly because we don't want to, undo or unravel all the work we've created. Just thought we needed to rebalance from working with the neck. So you're going to now get all your cushions and all your stuff. We're moving into a supported side-lying stretch. Okay, so this one here is you're going to get something to lie over the top of. And this is where I said to get like rolled up blankets and towels or whatever, because you want to have either, you know, a rolled up towel or blanket under your neck to support you. And you're going to have a rolled up blanket or pillow in between your legs. And if you've got SI joint issues, the knee should be one on top of the other. And you're taking your body over, so you're either having loads of cushions or something to come over the top of. So you're coming over the top, so it's a side stretch. So you're going to try and take your head, so your neck is supported, and you're taking your arms over. Let's see if I can move back so you can see what I'm doing here. You bring your body over, you're resting your head, you should have your knees and your neck supported and your arm over. Now, if somebody has issues with their shoulders, unstable shoulders, they're not going to take their arms over their heads. So it's a side stretch, so make sure you're like, you're folded over something, so you feel that opening, but you're able to relax now. Just breathe into it. It's a supported side stretch. Gently releasing. Let's do the other side. Your props together, so your things underneath, in between your legs, in between your head and your shoulder to support your neck. Find that space where you're going to open up in the side body and take your arm over the top, and then you're committing to your stillness. So the supported side stretch stretches the intercostals and the diaphragm, and it stimulates the function of the liver and the stomach and the spleen. It's good for kyphosis, which is, you know, when you're rounding your shoulders round. And contraindications is just be careful with the full arm extension and traction with the opposite arm if you've got shoulder injury. And you're keeping your knees level for SI joint injuries. Okay. Then coming slowly and gently up. So the next one, we're moving into one of the last ones before Shavasana. You can use lots of props here, or you can use a chair. I'm going to get a wee chair just to show you. So a chair or a wee table. But if you don't have a chair, it doesn't matter, you use props, so you can use it in different ways. So this is a supported Paschimottanasana. So you notice we've not opened up our hips so much because we're wanting to stabilize. So you can place the blankets underneath your bottom, so you're going to be comfortable. And then put your legs underneath the chair, and all you're doing is this, just resting on the chair. Or if you want, you've got bolsters and pillows and things like that. If you want a deeper expression of it, I'll show you. Want a deeper expression of it and want to come down further, you've got bolsters or cushions, and you're going to come forward, even putting pillows up here and resting here. But if you're doing this, then your legs are a bit wider and your sacrum's not going to be so stable if you're working with someone with SI joint issues. So working with that, you can have, apparently if you place like a bolster or something on top of your shins, it actually helps you to relax and calm down further. So when you're in Shavasana, so you can come into your expression of Paschimottanasana that you feel you need to. And you find that if you place like a bolster on top of the legs or on the belly, or you place the eye bags on your eyes, that I never used to, but after finding out that it actually helps to stimulate the ocular cardiac nerve, if you place an eye bag on your eyes, it does stimulate the vagus nerve, that slight pressure there too. The pressure on your legs and your arms, so when you're coming forwards, if you want to, it actually does help calm you down. It's not going to cut off your circulation or anything. If you feel it is, then you move. So find your expression of what you want to do with your Paschimottanasana. Okay, so work with where you're at. So if somebody's got issues of with their neck, cervical spondylosis, such as degeneration of cartilage and bones of the neck, and I'm sure I'm kind of getting there with my neck injury, you really should avoid that sort of practice. But I managed to prop myself up in Makrasana with my hands on the chair. You also need to avoid this pose if you've got a herniated disc or slip disc. Apparently meant to avoid it if you've got diarrhea, but I think if you've got diarrhea, you're not going to be wanting to be lying in restorative poses for long. So you bend the knees if you've got tight hamstrings, if there's pain in the back, and you can sit in a folded blanket to support your lower back and lift out of the spine. So supported Paschimottanasana opens up the back of the body and releases tightness in the hips and the lower back. It stretches the ligaments of the spine and stretches and strengthens the vertebral joints. It's extremely cooling and calming, and it soothes the sympathetic nervous system, and it instills a sense of safety and peace. It prevents and alleviates fatigue, and it rests the heart. It normalizes blood pressure and pulse rate, and it's helpful for angina or pain. It alleviates mental agitation, relieves headaches and eye strain, improves blood circulation to the pelvic area and tones the pelvic organs. It regulates the blood supply to the endocrine glands and activates the adrenal glands, relaxes the thyroid glands, massages and strengthens the abdominal organs and tones the kidneys and liver. So it's good for the digestive system. It's good for PMS and perimenopause too. You're slowly going to come up into Dandasana and just bringing some length into the spine, tucking the chin in slightly. Smooth breaths before we move into our last pose of the night, which is armchair Shavasana. So armchair Shavasana basically is a bit like if you've got as much much props as you can. Again, if you do have a bolster, I'm sorry guys that I've not been able to drive to give you your bolsters, but you'll get them. I'm going to be in town on Saturday, so hopefully we'll get them to you before the mental health one. But by putting a block underneath, you're setting this up. You can put a blanket underneath your sit bones here, and the reason it's called armchair Shavasana is because you want to set it up a little bit like an armchair. So you can put, let me get more pillows here. So the idea is to get yourself really propped up and supported, so you really feel held. So you can come into, if you want to come into, take your knees, the pillows underneath your knees as well. And then when you've got your arms out, you're going to have your arms supported too. That's why it's called armchair Shavasana. So you're coming back into your armchair. So you're making sure you've got support underneath your knees, support under your arms. You've got your supported, you're supported with your bolster or your pillows or your blocks. So just make sure everything's all nice and supported, as if you're in an armchair of cushions. So make any last adjustments you need to. You're closing your eyes, and once you're in your position, opening up in the chest, feeling safe and supported and nurtured. Breathe in through your nose and then out through your mouth with a and again. And begin to work with golden thread breath, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth, blowing as if you're blowing a golden thread out through your mouth. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Then release your breath. Relax deep into Shavasana. And I'm going to give you an inner child meditation. I'm going to heal our inner child. So close your eyes and go inside. And notice your breath. Is it calm and balanced? Or is it moving quickly? Out of step with your center? Is it deep or shallow? Connect with it. Your best friend, your truth teller, the breath of life. Now invite your thoughts to fade and return to your breath, and let your breath become your consciousness. Inhalation, exhalation. Inhalation, exhalation. Thoughts fading as we go deeper into the breath of the heart. Now imagine a place, any place at all that brings you comfort. It can be an environment that you remember from early life, a place you escape to later in life, anywhere that feels safe, a refuge for your healing journey. Imagine the place deeply and make it as vivid and textured as you want, or keep it simple, minimalistic, and pristine. It could be a field, a room, the sky, a beach, the forest, anywhere that calls you home. Now imagine yourself there at a prior time in life, at a time when you were a child, vulnerable and genuine and available to the moment. Imagine yourself in physical form as a baby or an infant. It's a time when life was difficult, at a time when you felt abandoned, a time when you would have welcomed kindness, compassion, and presence from another. Go inside and feel those feelings, that which you longed for, that which you needed, that which was missing. Be with this energy of that moment in time and breathe into it. Invite yourself to feel it. Now step back and witness your child self. Just look at you through the eyes of your current consciousness, through your adult eyes. The who you are now, watching the who you were then. The inner child and the inner adult bearing witness to each other. Now imagine yourself walking into the scene, walking towards your child self. When you reach them, get down on your knees and sit, and look deeply into their eyes, into your own eyes at an earlier stage of life. Let your inner child feel you looking at them, seeing them, attuning to them, granting them the presence so desperately needed in that moment of challenge. Validate their existence and worth with your presence. Just be there, fully. And then, if and when it feels right, reach over and embrace them. Embrace your inner child. Embrace them for them, and embrace them for you. Give them the love they needed at that time, and let them remind you of your own vulnerability and gentleness, and hold each other close for as long as you need. Now slowly bringing your awareness back into where you're lying, you can gently bring yourself rolling onto your right side and back to where you are. When you're ready, gently pushing yourself up into Sukhasana. You can sit on cushions, make yourself comfortable. So we're going to end with Brahmari breath. We're going to tone our vagal nerves here. So close your eyes and we're just going to do a few rounds of Brahmari. Here we go. Place your hands to your heart center in Anjali Mudra. Your hands up to your Ajna chakra. Honor your inner teacher. Come back into your heart and honor your inner child and honor who you are now. We're going to end with an Om. Here we go. Namaste. Thank you for practicing yoga with me this afternoon.